Joining us now to discuss this is Kazaryan. She's Director of Civil Liberties at TechFreedom. Good to see you this morning. When you hear something like this, Google tracking you in your every move, if you're social distancing or not, how is this not a violation of data privacy?
Well, I honestly am fascinated by the headlines that have been making rounds since Google's announcement because, I went to law school and I think the most valuable thing I am in debt for is that I read the fine print. So I read what Google actually then said about how they're collecting the data. And it's anonymized data on high-level aggregated data. There's no individual movement tracking. And if your location tracking is off like mine is and has been for years, then they don't even collect that data. So this is the most high-level group tracking that there can be that's already being done by like government satellites that, collect data on group gatherings in different cities and things like that. And obviously, even this high level of data is going to help health officials. So I honestly don't see any data privacy violations.
But if they're collecting data on my whereabouts, on your whereabouts and where you go, it's somewhere. Can't foreign governments or anyone else find this data, perhaps use it for their own benefit?
So these are a little bit two different things. So number one is foreign governments collecting data on other countries' citizens has been a problem for years. I see what you mean, and there's definitely an ethical debate about health data collection in the midst of a pandemic. Actually, other countries have been aggressively collecting way more data and collaborating with the private sector. And it's not just China, which obviously is a surveillance state, but it's countries like Australia and Italy and Israel and Poland, our allies. On different levels, they've been doing way more intense individual tracking. Right now, the United States doesn't have any structure or plan on data collection on that level or that deeply. Google has volunteered this anonymized high-level data to help health officials. And what we should focus on is actually the government using the data. You see, after 9/11, there were laws passed and programs put in place that still violate our Fourth Amendment and Fifth Amendment rights to this day that we're trying to reform. Just last week, there was the Department of Justice Inspector General's report that looked into 25 cases, including the Carter Page case, and said that there wasn't enough evidential basis for those cases, for that surveillance to be used. So obviously, the laws that we already have are violating our rights, and we should focus on government not abusing that data.
Let me just jump in real quick because I only have time for one more question. Let me just jump in and say, hey, we all want to help out here, to help others, to stay safe. Okay, so how is this tool of tracking people and monitoring if they social distance or not, how is this beneficial for health officials?
So health officials obviously can see trends, and I'm not a health expert, but it can help them in their research. It can help them in allocating resources. And what we should ask them to do is be extremely transparent with us on how they use data, how long they hold the data, and to make sure they don't share that data with law enforcement.
Very good. All right. Ran out of time, but fascinating subject. Kazaryan, Director of Civil Liberties at TechFreedom. Good to see you. Thank you. Stay safe.